So I got one more thought rattling around in my brain that I just have to state. Because does anyone else just find it funny that at a time period in history, now more so than ever, that we like when we should be more connected more so than ever, then we have every avenue that we possibly could have to you know to keep that connection that we have the easiest time with disconnecting with essentially everybody, that we are now essentially living in an age where we're taught to essentially recognize but never to understand. um, like we label everything is under like this blanket of what we presume other people to be like, and if we don't agree with them, well, now we can just simply unfollow them or unfriend them. We are not necessarily like we get now we don't have to tolerate other people's opinions and rhetoric, and like and as great for the mental health that is, uh, I feel it's just caused to the offensive, it's fueled this offensive nature that we've honestly had as a people, and that like you don't like we have a hard time connecting with people, and I don't even and the issue that I see with this is mainly like how is it so hard for other human beings to essentially look at another human being and literally just not immediately feel like that is another person standing in front of them. I don't I don't know how to basically like just I understand that stereotypes exist because they're like a safety mechanism and stuff that we have, but it's like aside from that, like we have to understand that people go through the same shit that everybody goes through the same thing. It's like relatively based on their culture, especially like here, like everybody's going through the same thing as we grow up, and we're all being fed the same nonsense. But yet, for some reason, we still can't just seem to know that. We just can't seem to. We always have to strive to get everyone to see one side of one issue before we can even move on to the next one. And in particular, like with racism, it's just such a well placed mechanism to always kind of cause that divide. No matter how hard we seem to try, we can't really connect on things. And I mean, the only movement out of everything that has happened so far that has actually remotely kind of made sense to me, as far as like a synergy sort of aspect, is this feminism, because of the fact that it goes across every demographic of human being. Like it doesn't matter what color you are, being a woman was a very very hard time in America and still is. No matter how hard you want to look back and say that it isn't, but it still is. Like we focus on almost every other struggle but essentially that one, and we've only touched bases with what's really been going on. And sometimes I feel like if you were to look at the basis of that issue and to where like why it is just come up as such a mechanism, is because of the community aspect that's so needed in our society right now. Like we don't even look at what's going on here, like in front of us at all, and we need that communal sense now so more so than ever. Like we need to be able to look at people as fucking human beings and just being able to be like, you know what, it doesn't matter if I agree with you, the point is that we have to work together to make this work. It doesn't matter if I actually really like you or not. I probably don't, but as far as where we are, and as far as what we need to survive, and as far as what we need to maintain, we have to come to some sort of agreement to move this whole thing forward. You know, like that at the very basis, I think it should be something that's I on an individual basis probably the easiest thing to draw out, where you actually where people have to live that situation more so than vicariously understand it. You know, like where you've seen all these instances. Like I think that's kind of the sort of screen effect that the internet has kind of created with all of us, is that we're able to experience so much, but only from a vicarious sense. Unless you've sort of immersed yourself in whatever it is, that sometimes it's always going to be like just a learned sense and not an understood sense, I guess. If that makes any sense. But that's, I mean, experience is oftentimes the best way to learn about anything. You like to immerse yourself into it, and that's honestly the quickest way to understand it. I mean, looking at it from the other side, there's only so much you can really learn about an instance. And when it comes to the matters of like people and human beings and the way we live, when you step onto the other side, it turns out it's really not that fucking much different. It's not. It's like we cultural differences, yes, but people are people. We're driven by kind of the same things. We're pretty much all driven by the sort of the same things. We just have a different definition for it wherever we go, and it doesn't matter why we have a different definition. We we're all people. You put us in the same situations, and necessarily we all kind of react in the same sort of fashion. It's not necessarily saying that we're like, you know, it's the plasticity that we have. Like, we work best when we work together, and if we can't work together, then we don't work at all. We can't go anywhere. We can't make a direction because we are all so like we everybody's got ideas and everybody's really good at something, and we have to recognize all of those strengths and weaknesses in order to build a better community. And right now, all we do is criticize those strengths and weaknesses that everyone has, and there are only certain uh, there are only I don't know, like I guess genres of activities that have drawn together a particular type of people that are capable of looking past those boundaries in and of themselves, and then like creating something so much greater than what this society even remotely thinks that it's capable of doing itself. Like, we have to learn to work together, and we have to learn at the very least that even if we don't quite, even if we can't learn to understand exactly what everybody is going to do or how they feel or whatever, but if we all could at least get to the point of trying to understand as opposed to criticize, as opposed to feel guilty for what it is, because understanding is knowing that it's both. Understanding is knowing that it wasn't just the good things that it brought about; it was also the bad things. That there's a side to literally every issue that there was, and it's not necessarily anyone's like decree to try to make a right or wrong out of what happened in history. Like, we every especially when it comes to human beings, like everybody's done some pretty fucked up shit to someone or somebody, but there's also been those points where we stopped doing that and started building something and made something incredible. So it's going to be both. There's probably no way we're ever going to truly eliminate the aspect of there being those two great dynamics between human civilization or whatever. But you know what? If we have the opportunity and the technology to actually make that sort of connectivity really not only happen, but really thrive in a direction that can definitely send us in some kind of new age, then, that'd be cool. We can, like, head towards that direction. You know, just seeing if there are real human beings out there, which I see a lot of them. Like, I see a lot of people that are thinking, that are asking, that are that pretty much fucking get it, which is cool. And it's scary how many people just can't seem to get past that. And it's not necessarily has anyone else's fault to do with essentially their own. That's why I always mention that it's kind of a human problem. It's a human thing. It's a question of self. Like, if there is anything that is actually going on right now on a scale of what is happening in our society, we're definitely going through some kind of mental revolution. We're learning. We're learning rapidly about the shit that we used to do to each other, and we're not really pleased about it. Nobody's really happy about it, but it's this learning process that needs to happen. It's not an easy story to tell, but it has to be told in order for us to actually move forward. And it's bad because we're learning that some people's mental states, as a whole, as a society, a lot of mental states that we have taken have been really bad for us. As to what we do, we are literally doing the opposite of what what has been really great for the human race as a whole. Like, somehow we have just turned over and just started rolling down the hill like we always do, because sometimes we just like, well, it's here now and we can't do anything about it, and we're all going to die eventually, which is true. But we don't have to expedite the process, because we can be good at that too. We're all going to die at our own rate. Nobody needs to expedite that. It'd be cool if we can, like, make it. Death is not a, don't make death seem like it's a personal failure as much as it's just be like, hey, would it be cool if I can choose to die amongst the stars instead? Then I actually get a chance to know where I'm going to lie down. and let that be my only bane as a human, as opposed to having to work for something that is not that at all. Like, that is everything that we do now is literally like I feel like is the opposite of what makes us better as people. Like, and that people should be allowed to find that, as opposed to being defined for them. Because that's what we need. That's how we grow. We let us, like, it's better when the adversity that you choose to take on is your own. Like, when you understand that the risk that you're having to take, but you want to get it done anyway. Like, and that it doesn't matter necessarily how many times you fail at it, that you're just going to keep doing it because you know that it makes you better, and that you wouldn't have it any other way. Like, it's possible to live that way despite what a lot of people may feel. And I only just encourage everybody to go towards that somehow and help others get towards that too. That's more important too. You got to help yourself, but also it's because we need to work together. So kind of fix yourself before you can start fixing other people, okay? That'd be cool. I'm working on it. Everybody's working on it. I know I'm fucking working out every day. But yeah, let's move towards that.